Hi, this is Nicholas Bell with IONCINEMA, here to review Class Action Park. It's the documentary debut of Seth Porges and Chris Charles Scott III. Premieres on HBO Max on August 27, 2020. Class Action Park is, of course, about the infamous Action Park, a water park that was in operation in Vernon, New Jersey from 1978 through 1996, and notoriously was a place where anything goes. It was run by teenagers, basically, and there were a lot of deaths and significant injuries that happened before it went bankrupt and finally closed. It opens with some footage on Jimmy Kimmel, where, as a resident of New Jersey, that was sharing memories with Johnny Knoxville of this infamous park, which they also called Traction Park. And then we get a brief history of the man that made it possible, Eugene Mulvihill, who was a stockbroker on Wall Street, but got into some trouble, not unlike something detailed in Martin Scorsese's The Wolf of Wall Street, swindling people through penny stocks. Eventually he's drummed out of Wall Street and he buys two old ski resorts, and in order to rake in money on them year-round, he creates a water park. Meanwhile, another one of his crooked friends, Bob Brennan, still working in Wall Street, kind of funnels money to Mulvihill, we're made to understand. Meanwhile, this particular area of New Jersey is being redeveloped as a place to go. Hugh Hefner opened a Playboy Club there around the time. We're also given some footage, which there aren't any hard facts, but maybe it seems like it's conjecture that Trump, of course, was thinking about dumping money into Action Park. Anyhow, it opens in 1978. Mulvihill doesn't hire any architects or engineers and basically just hires mad scientists to create these rides that don't make any sense and cause terrible injury. One of the first rides that they go over is the Cannonball Loop, which, as they were experimenting with the design, which he would pay $100 to the park employees to go down it over and over again, were all coming out bloody, and they figured out going into the slide that people, where they'd been hitting their head previously, there were teeth lodged in there and they were jagged and ripping people's flesh as they go through. So that's just one of the grisly little details we learned, and we go through a succession of all the rides that just seem crazy that they were even possible. The construction of the park, which was kind of divided up into three areas, including Motor World, which was cut off from the rest of the park by the highway. There's a lot of talking heads of ex-employees, ex-machine operators, ex-park attendees, talking about they had the greatest times of their life at this park. The comedian Chris Gethard is giving a lot of commentary. And then finally we get to a mother whose son was one of the many people that died on one of the rides. And we get her story of anguish and his brother talking about how they didn't get any support from Mulvihill or anyone else. No one listened to them. And all these deaths really meant nothing because by the time all of this started being publicized, and we get lots of newspaper clippings to prove this, this park was making money. And also we go into, the state tried to shut Mulvihill down initially, tried to sanction him, because at one point part of the land that the park was on was owned by the state. But basically he just dug his heels in and refused to pay any fines, pay his rent, and rather than deal with him, the state actually sold him his part of the land. So at that point, really was whatever the hell he wanted to do, he did. The tone is very much off. Although it doesn't have any footage of the injuries, those are all kind of supplanted with animation and other kind of jaunty, fun ways to kind of keep the tone light. Things get real heavy, of course, when the mother is present, and we wonder why there aren't other people, other parents of dead ones that weren't bothered to be interviewed. Maybe they didn't want to be, who knows. But the tone just seems off because we transition back and forth between these people that were talking about the greatest moments of their lives, which, you know, was a time and place that ended lives for many. But then again, the use of this mother feels a lot like Fahrenheit 9/11 and the mother of the mother of the dead veteran, the way Michael Moore kind of felt exploited her in that documentary. It also reminds me a bit of Greg Mottola's film Adventureland with Kristen Stewart and Ryan Reynolds. I had never heard of this park before. Some of it's illuminating. I don't know that it is the greatest expose that really touches on all of the corruption that was keeping this in place. And it would have been a nice juxtaposition to kind of show where everybody's frivolous, selfish, traumatic, because even the people that enjoyed it admit to there being a lot of trauma happening there. In comparing that to everything else that's allowing this park to keep going on. Mulva Hill's son, there's a lot of 2013 footage of him featured in there too, and they go over the plans of how over the years people have tried to revamp this park and bring it back for nostalgia's sake, but obviously nothing like this at the capacity that it was running would ever happen again. But it is an interesting portrait of, you know, what was the age of excess. Overall, I would give the documentary 2 out of 5 stars. Thank you.
Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.